Hey guys, and welcome back. I'm Simon here for the Aether Hub, bringing you more Magic the Gathering lore. This time, in the form of a review for Magic's latest story, the Wildered Quest, the main story for Throne of Eldraine. This will be my honest, spoiler-free review of the novel, hopefully helping you decide if it's worth picking up. I'll keep this as spoiler-free as possible, but rest assured, I'll have my own story breakdowns coming soon for Throne of Eldraine, so if you're interested in those, you won't have to wait for very long. Well, that's enough for my self-plugging. Let's get right into the review for Wildered Quest. Let's start with my own little synopsis of the book, again trying to keep it as spoiler-free as possible. The novel takes us on an adventure through the plane of Eldraine, where ancient and dark magic is opposed by an orderly civilization and a split society, which is expanded upon throughout the story. The plane is split between the wilds and the realm, one representing the unrestrained rituals, freedom, and chaotic magic, the other being the ideal society of strict order, chivalry, honor. Basically, it's the untamed elves clashing with orderly knights, aka humans. Though opposed to one another, a history we'll explore more in depth in another video, these two factions aren't in open conflict with one another, rather settling into an uneasy peace with hard-line borders. Still, young aspiring knights and adventurers go out on quests to the wilds, filled with terrifying monsters, cursed witches, and savage elves to prove themselves worthy and honorable knights of the realm. While the wilds are ruled by various elvish clans, the realm is split into 5 unique kingdoms, all under the rule of a High King. In the story, the current High King is Kenrith, father to Will and Rowan Kenrith, who we saw as twin planeswalkers in the two-headed giant set Battle Bond. The story of the Wildered Quest takes place before Will and Rowan have their sparks ignite, so this is all during their pre-planeswalker status for those characters. In the Wildered Quest, the uneasy peace between the realm and the wilds is pushed to its very limits as the High King goes missing. Without spoiling anything to the story, Will and Rowan and a band of merry characters go out to find and return their father to his seat. However, it's not just the wilds who hold secrets on Eldraine. Will and Rowan struggle to discover their own past, and secrets kept from them at birth, while meeting a mysterious shapeshifter and his strong, stoic hunter companion he refers to as Dog. That's the general world of Eldraine, and the story you'll embark on in the Wildered Quest. But how did the book turn out, and is it worth the purchasing price? The Wildered Quest is Wizards of the Coast's first stab at ebook exclusive novelettes that can be purchased through Amazon or your preferred ebook app. I call this a novelette simply because the Wildered Quest is about 200 pages long, so it's really not a long read. I was able to get through it in just a few nights. It's easily digestible, even for those who don't fancy themselves the swiftest readers. Now, I gotta admit guys, I'm not an English major and I'm not a writer. You want an in-depth look at the writing style, grammar, and chapter construction, all that kind of stuff? Turn to someone more proficient in that field. All I can say is that the Wildered Quest, personally, was a story that was easy to follow, hop in and hop out of, that followed a cohesive narrative that got us plainly from point A in the story to point B. Now, that simple philosophy doesn't take away from the quality of the content. Sure, there can be some time jumps between chapters that have you double taking a little bit, but it's used to push the story and it isn't dwelled on for very long. So if you can deal with that kind of stuff, it really doesn't impact the flow of the story. While the story is super easy to comprehend for a Magic player, I can easily see some readers not familiar, mostly with the beast terminology and creatures, to get a little lost at points. Some encounters and events are very well described, while others are passing and could have you guessing, wait, what did I just see? This novel also leaves a lot of gaps, unanswered questions, and fleeting details that Magic players would be scratching their heads at. Like a lot of novels and stories in MTG, only the overarching story is told through the actual novel itself, and in the story, they'll make references to things that aren't further explained, things that you'll have to learn through other sources like card art, flavor text, or MTG art books that provide more of that world-building aspect of things. If that sort of thing annoys you in a novel and you're looking for something similar to like the Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones level of staging, well, you're not gonna find that here. However, if you're looking for an interesting story told well, set in a high fantasy setting, then you'll get what you're looking for from the Wildered Quest. It's a fun, simple story told very well, that sure needs more context from an outside source. Still, how does this compare to other paid MTG novels or the MTG Story articles? I'm going to be very honest with you guys, I hated the War of the Spark novel. In fact, it actually made me quit making lore videos on MTG for a while. Maybe it's just the style of the author for the Wildered Quest, Kate Elliott, or the streamlined, focused nature of the story, but I found it to be a great return to form for MTG. The debacle that was War of the Spark at a much steeper price tag sort of turned me off to the idea of paid stories, especially as we just came off of the free MTG articles. Speaking of which, those articles are what the Wildered Quest is most similar to. It would be easily comparable to the free MTG Mothership articles from sets past. It's a similar length and condensed writing style, and I know Kate Elliott was involved in those in the past, so it makes sense, right? This is just a whole story being dumped for a price, rather than released chapter by chapter over the course of several weeks. So, that begs the question, how do I, or you, prefer to consume our MTG lore? If I compare the ebook model with the article model, I'd probably go with the articles. They were free, meaning more people had access to them. They came out in installments, which meant that the story of a set could last longer and be interesting for a longer period of time than with a story dump like the Wildered Quest. Just think on it for a moment. A novel for a set can drop before the set even comes out, or worse still, without having all of its cards even previewed, and people can be done reading and caring about it before the cards ever hit the store themselves. I think that could be a potential problem, for sure. Still, if Wizards of the Coast came to me with this novel and said, hey, we need to charge you a little to keep this quality up and consistent, avoiding a War of the Spark debacle, are you okay with that? I personally would say, yeah. At $4, I feel like I got a great, well-written story. Of course, you could make the argument that these stories used to be free, and that's fair, it's a fair argument, but if this is the model moving forward, and the purchase price goes to supporting the talented authors that will make good stories, then I'm okay with paying that price. So, in summary, would I recommend the Wildered Quest? Universally, yes. It'll get the bad taste of the War of the Spark out of your mouth, but you might get the small, bitter taste in return, realizing that you now pay for what used to be the free story articles. Still, if you're a fan of Magic or the fantasy genre in general, it's a fantastic, albeit quick read. More so, it's a great jumping in point for those looking to read an MTG story for the first time. So if you're a budding Vorthos, the Wildered Quest could be a great opportunity to start into Magic lore. Anyway guys, I hope this review gives you some useful information so you can decide on the Wildered Quest for yourselves. If you've picked it up and read through it, leave your thoughts on the novel and Wizards' new story model in the comment section below, and please, refrain from any spoilers. We'll be going into more summary and lore videos on the channel where spoilers can just go free, go nuts. But here, let's try and keep it spoiler free. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share, and of course hit that bell so you never miss a new video. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya!